already exceeded their fuel costs.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just going to pull this open in a minute, but if other people have thoughts while I'm trying to do that, feel free to weigh in.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I might, I mean, I somewhat agree with Craig Lauer on this. Obviously, gasoline has gone up quite a bit. I just got oil delivered to my house last week, and it was $5.05 a gallon, and that's from $3.75 the last time that they delivered it. So I think someone being prudent in throwing some additional money into the reserve account kind of makes sense. I mean, we have no idea where things are going to be going from today moving forward. The price of oil has been seesawing up and down. It's over $100 a barrel today. It was 90 some odd dollars a barrel last week. So I think at least an additional 50 grand seems to be, I would say, be prudent at this point in time.
Yeah.
Just as a general comment, I agree. I think the reserve fund should be more than 100,000. I'm not opposed to 150, but just as a general comment, it seems like we're trying to prepare for what was a lack of planning on all the departments ends, where, I think virtually everyone that we talked to, there were a few folks who planned for this, but we asked everyone, are you concerned about rising fuel or electricity costs? And with very few exceptions, folks said, no, I think we're fine. And now, we're having to prepare for the fact that they probably weren't fine.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with whether or not the departments felt comfortable. It has to do with the fact that Russia has invaded Ukraine. That's what's driving all of this. It has nothing to do with the
costs were going up well before that happened.
No, they've gone up tremendously since Russia invaded Ukraine. So I think it has nothing to do with rising costs. Yes, there might be a little bit of that, but the vast majority of this has to do with what's gone on with Russia invading Ukraine and the war that's going on right now.
I don't have no
idea what's going to go on.
I don't disagree that we shouldn't be prudent and raise our reserve fund. I just think in the future maybe we should emphasize to the departments a little more. They should be budgeting for this.
Budgeting what, for war? Please, come on.
Increased costs.
Okay.
We all knew that costs were going up. We've been talking about this for months.
Bob Zakansky, you have a comment?
Yeah, I want to go back to Bob's general comment. I think there's a history of the advisory committee being preoccupied with the fuel costs with good reason. And the problem with different departments forecasting their future fuel costs is nobody in any of those departments is an expert in what energy futures might do. So what you get is it's essentially random guesses from every department, and you don't know what they put into it, how accurate it is, if it's, if they all estimated their costs next year, you could criticize them also for doing it the way they did. And the downside of that is it could take money away from, this year we got a lot of free cash because of ARPA, but if you start taking money away from other projects because people are going to forecast the fuel too high to make sure the advisory committee doesn't criticize them, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So I think the practice has been, make it as accurate as you can. You certainly know your usage isn't going to drop next year. And if there's an unexpected rise, we'll pull it out of the reserve fund. And I think that's the history. I think that's the prudent way to continue. I really can't imagine asking the different departments and committees to forecast how much fuel prices are going to change remember, we're not just talking the next 5 months, we're talking the next 6 to 18 months.
Right.
No, that's a good point.
Nanachka,
I found the expenditure ledger for February, and town hall is at 55% usage. Police 60%, DPW is out, library is about 75%. So it's not terrible.
yeah. The one thing I was going to ask you, Nanachka, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but is there, going to Craig's question, is there another mechanism besides our reserve fund that we could tap into in an emergency situation if even our 150 proved not to be enough? I mean, we could ask for another reserve transfer this time next year, but I'm just wondering if it, God forbid, we ran out by like March of 2023.
So you still have the whole budget as an aggregate. That's your fallback, is you want May 1st, you can transfer from all departments like we do with snow and ice. And at the very end, if you don't have enough in your total budget, you'll raise the difference on the recap.
Can we, but before May, let's say we got to March and a bunch of the energy line items had been completely depleted. Do we have any mechanism to do transfers at that point other than an advisory reserve transfer?
Only within departments. You could, if it was a true emergency, like say things just went way out of control, you can just ask for DOR for emergency spending.
Okay.
So yes, you wouldn't not be able to not buy fuel.
Okay.
Well, just to put it in perspective, our current budgeted petroleum products is 118,000, and that is up 11,000 from last year. That is from 2023 versus 2022. And our electricity budget is 100,000. So just off the top of my head, that means that if we triple that 118, we're going to be short by 236. And then add another 20 for the 100,000. So you're looking at a shortfall of 256,000 roughly. And we have 150 to pay, and assuming there's zero other transfers.
I just, as a taxpayer, I don't want to see over budgeting, like over taxing, for something that might not happen.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm in favor of moving it to 150. Sorry, Bob, I just saw your hand go up.
No, I was just going to say, remember, Nanachka's watching the numbers. So it's not like we're all going to wake up in the middle of the second week of February and all of a sudden we're going to be out of cash. If we need to call a special town meeting to tap into the stabilization fund, we'll do that. All right.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna go belly up.
And the other thing is, if we're in that circumstance, every other municipality in the Commonwealth is going to be in that circumstance too, because I'm not aware of any municipalities that are tripling their energy budgets. So I think this is a prudent step to take. There's still, I guess, some risk, but I think we can manage it if it materializes. Any other comments? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the advisory reserve fund at 150,000?
I move we approve the advisory reserve fund at 150,000.
Second it.
Okay, roll call. Bob,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay. So Nanachka, we have to revote the town hall budget because this now includes the cost for the printer, correct?
The plotter,
Sorry, yeah, the plotter printer.
same difference.
Yeah, okay. So is there a motion to approve to revote the 192 town hall budget for a total of $32,833?
Is it really $400 a month to lease?
That includes the maintenance plan.
Alrighty. I move we approve the total town hall budget for $32,833.
I'll second
it.
that.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Did I miss anyone? No, okay. Next up, police department. Nanachka, these have the new wages numbers, correct? Nanachka, I don't know if you're muted. Oh, looks like we lost her. Hold on a second. Before we vote on this, I'm gonna just be there, Nanachka.
Oh, everybody else was frozen except me.
So the police department budget includes the updated wages figures.
It does, yes.
Okay. So the new bottom line is 1,619,454.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve the police department budget for $1,619,454.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm also a yes. My God, I was like, okay, we're done. And then I realized, oh, the biggest item in our entire budget has to be voted. All right, so these are the actual numbers, the operating assessment for Neshoba, and then the debt assessment broken down. Thank you, Nanachka, for doing that. For a total of $16,953,808.
Thanks.
I move we approve the Neshoba Regional School District budget for $16,953,808.
Mr. Chairman, before you vote, the increase over FY '22 of $653,489. What percentage of that is our Prop 2.5 and whatever we're doing as far as the levy limit? What percentage of that is that? Is that most of it, all of it, some of it?
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me show you. So our Prop 2.5 new growth for this year is 580 roughly. So that consumes over 100% of that Prop 2.5 new growth.
Okay, I think that should be something that we emphasize with the voters at the annual town meeting, that our ability under the law for 2.5 is now exceeding what the school district needs. And as we had said several years ago, this is not sustainable. So I'm not objecting to approving it, but I think it needs to be noted that that number is only going to get larger, and the percentage of what we're able to increase relative to 2.5 is getting smaller and smaller. So I hope we have that represented at the annual town meeting with your presentation.
Yeah, Stan, I think it's a great point. And to be honest, I mean, look at, I'm highlighting our Prop 2.5 new growth and our other new growth, and that's only 780,000.
Yep.
So we're almost consuming both of those.
Absolutely. So we can't continue on this path. We can't.
I mean,
we
we're
cannot
using
continue on.
$450,000 of free cash. That's unsustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, We can't do this. We can't do this. I have asked our school committee reps for some information in terms of overall head count and non-teaching positions and the like. And we need to get a better handle on this, because we cannot sustain this at all. Cannot sustain it. And that's why people are moving out of Bolton. That's why senior citizens can't afford to live here. You know, especially long-term residents who have lived here 30, 40 years and maybe put a kid through school. And, you know, they had a kid from kindergarten through high school, and that's 13 years. And they've lived here 20 or 30 years. They're shouldering the burden of 65%, 66% of their taxes are going to the school, and something's got to be done about it.
Yeah.
Is there
Right.
some mechanism to do something about this? I remember that this group had the same discussion last year, and we emphasized this with the school committee this year. And yet we find that the same thing happened. They exceeded our ability to increase reps. So how do we fix this?
So
Can't.
I mean, I think just pragmatically, what will happen is either the school district takes in that message and makes a change, or they force the issue of a Prop 2.5 override at some point, and then they basically take their case to the voters of the 3 town meetings. Sorry, Bob, you have a comment?
No, go ahead and finish. I can wait.
No, I mean, I think that the communication this year with the school district was really helpful. And all we can do is continue to try to make sure, you know, the new school committee rep understands and appreciates this dynamic. One possibility is that if, you know, our Prop 2.5 new growth is what it is, it's 2.5%, but if there's other sources of growth in the coming years, that could help, but I don't think we can count on that. Bob Zakansky?
Yeah, thank you. As far as reining in the school budget, I'm pessimistic that that's going to happen unless people start paying attention to the school committee meetings that are devoted to the budget. Because once it gets to town meeting, it's almost too late.
Exactly.
So, you know, we can work on it as much as we can. But I think it may, as Brian said, may just come down to, you know, at some point they're going to be forced into a Proposition 2.5 override, and people are going to have to decide at that point, you know, what do they want to do. The other thing is, I've made this point before. There is no town in the Commonwealth or city that is more dependent upon residential taxes to pay its bills than Bolton. And that's a zoning issue. You know, the dirty little secret about Bolton town finances that nobody talks about is that the advisory committee and the selectmen alongside them work within a 1-year window. And that window, we can't do any budgeting or make any changes beyond that window. But it's really the planning board that determines how much money is going to be coming in from residential taxes and how much money is going to be coming in from industrial and commercial taxes. And they've been completely ignoring, no one's ever put pressure on them. You know, there's pressure on them to do something about container storage in people's backyards, but there's no pressure on them at all from anybody to take into account the economic consequences of the decisions that it's making, particularly when it comes to zoning commercial and residential properties. So we're sort of making our own mess here in that regard.
How would you fix that?
There is more, let's see. there are commercially desirable places that are vacant and zoned residential. So let's make them commercial and industrial zoned.
Comment from Stan?
Well, to some extent, I agree with Bob, but I think to a large extent, it's the tail wagging the dog. And we need to, we are constantly in a defensive position to have to deal with what the school district does. And I think we need to figure out some way to get ahead of the curve where we're more on the offensive rather than on the defensive. You know, the reality is this is not sustainable, and it hasn't been sustainable for a few years. And we need to have a thorough understanding of the organizational structure of the district, who's doing what. Do we really need 2 assistant principals at the high school? I mean, those are $100,000 plus positions. And you know, do we need all the middle management that we have all said that maybe might be too much? And no one's really figured this out or understood this. I think we need to have a real sit down, because we can't deal with this anymore. It's gotten beyond our ability to deal with it from a financial perspective. So I think we need to have some, so now that we have a new administration coming in, you know, I think that the new superintendent might be amenable to having that discussion. But we need to figure out how this is going to be a win-win for everybody. It's not a win-win right now for the town of Bolton, I can tell you that.
Just procedurally, I think we had a motion by Craig. Did anybody second it? Somebody could please second it.
Please,
Ryan,
please.
could you throw the spreadsheet up again?
Yeah. hold on.
I suppose there's no mechanism in the Massachusetts Municipal Code to separate out the school assessment from the rest of the town budget and force a separate vote.
No.
You'd have to
No,
vote down the whole
unfortunately
budget.
No. And I think at this point in time, it's probably
That-
too
no.
late to have a debate about this.
No, but that's not true. You could vote down the school budget at town meeting.
Well, that's true. You could.
How?
If you make an amendment to increase it or decrease it by a penny or more, that
Yep. that's true.
that does it. Because it's a requirement that all 3 towns have to vote on this exactly the same amount.
Yep.
So if you change that number by a penny, it counts as voting against the proposed budget.
Right.
And the rest of the town budget would be approved?
Correct.
Correct. And as I remember, Don had conversations with the superintendent that we could only deal with a 3% increase. And it's a full percentage point more.
I'm not personally in favor of blindsiding the school with that this year, but potentially for next year, we could say if you exceed X percentage.
Well, given the ARPA money we have and the free cash position we're consequently in, it would not be a successful political move to try to vote down this budget.
Yep.
But you're right. If
Next year.
Next year, potentially circumstances, and next year, the circumstances will seem like they're super critical because the ARPA money masked the problem this year. So it's going to be twice as severe as anybody expects next year if it's bad.
Yep.
The problem is we're going to get the second half of the ARPA money next year.
But we may have other requirements for using it. And we don't know what free cash is going to come in.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I understand that, it may mask it again next year, but not as,
Right.
There won't be as much cover as this year.
Right. But the bottom line is that the increase in the school district budget for assessment for us, you know, we're eating into 2.5 and new growth. And that can't happen anymore. And we need to make that message loud and clear. And we can start with it the day after town meeting. I mean, I'm not opposed to approving this now. To the Bob's point, it'll be useless to do that now, but we need to make that message loud and clear the day after town meeting.
Bill,
If I remember correctly from the presentation from the superintendent, the school also received more Chapter 70 funds than they ever have. Just like we received ARPA. So their budget will only get worse to us if that doesn't continue.
yeah, but just on that point, so the Chapter 70 money is not going to go away because that's going to be basically the formula changed as a result of the Student Opportunity Act, and that improvement is going to be baked in, but they did get other federal funds that are going to go away the same way our ARPA money is going to go away. But I had the same concern that you had, Bill, and I think that the superintendent basically said the Chapter 70 change is going to be one that lasts. So that's good, but it's the reason that our assessment is actually under 4%, but
He
yeah.
also said he's using the ESSER funds to fund salaried positions.
that he
That's
plans to make permanent.
Right. So those will
Yeah.
have to get baked into the budget. So that's
Yeah.
already an increase.
Yep.
I would never advocate for using grant funds for
No,
wages.
exactly. I agree. Nanachka. That's nuts.
So we still don't have a second.
I'll second Craig's motion.
Nobody wants to vote on it.
Okay.
I'll
so
second Craig's motion.
we got a second. All right, I'm gonna do a roll call. Anne,
Leave me later. Let me hear what others.
okay, Craig,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Anne.
All right, aye.
I'm a yes also. All right, so Nanachka, that's it, right? We got
No, Medicare.
oh, because it changed because of the police.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right, so the new number is $59,841.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question about that?
Yeah.
Don Lowe still has a contingency fund for other contracts that go into effect next year. Is there some money in here for the Medicare portion of those contracts?
Yes.
All right, I'm happy. Thank you.
Okay, so this 59,841 is a good number based on all the information we have. All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I move we approve the total employee benefits for $1,613,868.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. Roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes also. Now we're done, right? With operating, Nanachka?
Yes. So just the plug I have and see if it's the same for you. It'd be 438,968,000 of free cash for the operating to plug the deficit.
Hold on a second.
If you go to the summary, is that?
Yeah, I think the thing is I need to change, okay, sorry. Uh, $438,968.
Yep. All right, good. We're on the same, I mean, not good, but we're on the same page.
Okay, yeah, because that's basically $25,000 more than the 413 that had been there
Right.
before. Okay,
Exactly.
all right. I'm going to stop sharing this for a minute. And we're going to switch over to the latest and greatest version of the warrant. All right, so already voted 1 and 2. Basically, for Article 3, I feel like in prior years, we basically say we now know what the bottom line number is going to be. We're going to kind of allow Ninotchka to fill these numbers in, but we can at least vote our recommendation based on the votes taken tonight, correct?
Yes.
All right, so is there a motion to approve Article 3 fiscal
I
year?
move we
operating budget?
approve. I move we approve Article 3 fiscal year 2023 operating budget.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay. Everything else we've done. Okay. So solar lease, Article 12, the language has been changed a little bit from last week. So is there a motion to approve Article 12 solar lease?
I move we approve Article 12 solar lease.
Brian, but before we vote on this one, did I hear during the presentation 2 weeks ago that the expected savings was $10,000 or $15,000?
So I have my notes somewhere. I think that the conservative estimate was that was the yearly save, right?
Yeah, it was
It was like
200.
200 something.
It was 250,000, and so it works out to 12,500 a year, I think.
And that was assuming the price of electricity never went up.
Correct. Or no, I think they Craig, I think they did have a slight increase in electricity, but at very conservative estimates.
Okay.
So I have two concerns. One is that when I look at in their presentation, their expected generation capacity, it peaks in June, July, and August when the school is probably not using as much electricity. So I'm not sure that their assessment is quite as rosy, but
You can hang on to it. It goes back. It's not like they can only use it when the sun is shining kind of a thing. Massachusetts lets you kind of bank those savings.
So it's net metering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have solar panels on my house and
yeah, okay. I thought he was saying this was pre-meter, but maybe that's the same thing. Anyway, even if their estimate is right, if this savings is split between the three towns, it feels like we're tying up all this land for a savings of 5,000 a year or something.
well, it's a leach field, isn't it? I mean, you couldn't use it for anything else, could you? I don't know.
Well, I believe they do. According to Ed Sterling, they have used it.
Well, we used to park on it and for lacrosse games and we never should have been.
Right. There's the issue of it's a leach field and you can't park on it.
Right.
There's the issue of access, and there's the issue of access over the well that's over by the senior center. So there really isn't much use for that land. You can't use it for a soccer field because of access and traversing the well, and you can't build on it because there's a leach field there.
I guess what I would like to see is that Bolton gets the full credit for the savings if we were to give up our land for 25 years instead of
Awful long time.
yeah,
So-
instead of giving the savings to Stealth and Lancaster and they contribute nothing.
I have that same concern, and we just spent, nobody wanted to vote on the Neshoba budget. And if you offer Neshoba a savings of 12,000 a year, they're just going to replace that cost most likely. We're not going to see that savings. They'll spend that money elsewhere.
I just want to make sure I get some other comments. Bob, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, first off, I don't know, and I don't know if anybody else knows, if Stowe and Lancaster already have solar farms that are contributing to their electronics, to their, power requirements. So the fact that this is going to Florence Sawyer and being purchased by Neshoba, on one hand, we're criticizing them for not cutting costs where they can. And now we're saying, well, you know what, we're not, you're cutting costs unfairly because you're going to cut costs for other communities also. So I think we got to make up our mind there.
Yeah.
If you go and, to the other question about the use of that, Parks and Recs had no interest in this piece of property and has had no activity on this piece of property until they learned middle of last year that this was being used for a solar field. If you go to the Parks and Recs website, on the town website, they list all of their playing fields. This is not on that list.
Exactly.
So, to the question about we're going to do something somewhere, or we could do something with this. Let me remind you that it's taken them 5 or 6 months just to get a document signed regarding moving ahead with Persons Park, that they have done nothing over many years to improve Derby Field, that in fact, in Forbush Mill and Memorial Park, it's the sports leagues and not Parks and Rec. That's, and the same for the Tower Field where lacrosse plays, that it's the sports leagues and not Parks and Recs that's managing all that stuff. So the idea that Parks and Recs is all of a sudden going to be very active with this, what I call the sheep field, because that's what it used, where the sheep displays were back when the Bolton Fair was there.
Yep.
That's, that's not going to happen. Parks and Recs is not using it.
I
And-
agree
and
with
so-
what Bob's saying.
Pardon me?
I agree with what you're saying, Bob.
And so, I understand their concern there, but they've got no use for it now. They have no planned use for it. And they themselves do not recognize it as a field that any of their sports teams are using.
I just wanted to make a comment about the issue of who realizes savings. And one of the things I was glad to see is that the language in this article has changed with respect to how specific parties are identified. Because really what this article is doing is it's giving the select board authority to do things, but not spelling out exactly how they get done. And so as I read this article, when it comes time to actually enter into any agreements with whoever the beneficiary parties may be, the select board will still have some amount of flexibility over those negotiations. And so I don't think that the way that this article is drafted necessarily means that the benefit is going to be automatically spread across the 3 towns, because it'll come in the form of an operating assessment. Maybe that's how the select board will agree to enter the agreement, but I don't think this article commits them to that. At least that's how I read it.
Correct.
We should update the summary.
The more detail you put in the summary, the more questions you're going to have.
Right.
So
Sure.
what's wrong with that? If people have questions, they should be able to ask them.
Well, what did
Okay.
you mean by update the summary? Which part of the summary, Craig, did you think needs to be
Well,
updated?
if we want the select board to have the ability to send the electricity somewhere other than Florence Sawyer School, you might not want to put to provide electricity to the Florence Sawyer School in the summary.
I don't, I'm not so sure that saying providing electricity to Florence Sawyer School in the summary ties their hands. I think
No,
that's,
but it is misleading if we intend to do something different.
I mean,
It-
I think we
Legally,
should-
you're right.
to be clear, I think we should, even if it goes to the Florence Sawyer School and we only realize 1/3 or so of the benefits, I think it's awfully anti-community not to do that, even if the other two towns get some of the benefit. I mean,
We
if
could change that wording to possibly provide electricity to Florence Sawyer School.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, I will, I'll take it on to talk to the town administrator tomorrow.
Is this did this originate from the school, this proposal, or was this?
No, this
So-
came from the Board of Selectmen.
And I think, this is another example of, Bob, you'd mentioned earlier that we're asking the school to find ways to save money. The school's not advocating for this to save money. Maybe they should be, but here we go again. We are trying to find ways to help the school, and I don't know if they're interested or not. They're certainly not advocates for this.
They are very interested in this. Yeah, it hasn't been public, but my understanding is they are very interested in this. We are not, under no stretch of the imagination, are we forcing this down their throats.
Any other comments before we vote?
I just think that this is, there really isn't enough background, there isn't enough commitment. I don't think there's enough visibility to this proposal. And to bring it to the town meeting when we really haven't had community discussions about that seems to me, I don't know, a little
Well, I'm going to take issue
kind of a
with
tea
that
kettle.
because the selectmen have been talking about doing this for 5 or 6 years. And it originally, the original target location was the landfill. Okay, and for a variety of reasons, it isn't feasible to hook up at the landfill. So we went looking for another piece of land. We got some engineering studies done. This is the best piece of land that's available. And all of this has been discussed at selectmen's meeting out in the open. Now, I will admit that in their summaries of the selectmen's meetings, the local newspapers have not mentioned this at all. And I think the reason for that is they figured nobody was interested. And I think they're right.
Well,
There's,
Bob, I just think that there hasn't been general visibility. It appears on the warrant. I would say that most of the community would be unaware of it. I understand that everybody's looking for ways to maximize the property and getting the benefits in terms of the dollars, but I don't know. I was surprised to see it on the warrant, quite frankly, and I've been involved in the advisory committee for 3 years. So I don't know. I just don't think there has been enough discussion or debate whether this particular piece of property has no use to anybody. And I think it's a lot of passive
Okay.
recreation that goes on down there.
but there's
No,
no
I have
evidence,
to
there's no
I have to
evidence to the
strongly disagree
contrary.
with you, Ed.
Zero.
This has been discussed for years and years. And the
Well,
access
I
to
just
that property
disagree.
has been
I'm
discussed
not
for
gonna
years
vote for
and
it,
years.
so you guys go ahead.
I'm sorry that you haven't been part of the discussion. But this is not something that came up at the last minute. This has been going on for multiple years.
I
Yeah,
know
and-
we have
And,
looked for
and,
locations
and what
for
we're trying to
solar
do
arrays,
is we're
but I
trying to
don't
save
think there's
some
been
money
anything.
and we're trying to maximize the use of a piece of property that really has no other use. So I'm
we're
sorry
not-
that you haven't been part of it, but it's disingenuous to say there hasn't been any discussion about this, Ann.
We're not putting this on Tower Field where the lacrosse people play, even that's probably more open. We're not putting this in the horse ring where the girls lacrosse team is, even though that's possibly more open. We're putting it in a piece of land that nobody has paid any attention to. Nobody has come forward to say, the only complaints about this have been, maybe we'll do something with it someday. There hasn't been a single voice that comes forward and said, that's going to deprive me of the ability to do X, Y, or Z. Never. There hasn't been a word like that. And so to turn around and say, maybe there's a better use for it. Okay, why hasn't somebody thought of that already? Why hasn't a proposal for the better use of this land come forward? It's because no one's got any.
Bill,
With all due respect, I think questioning the mechanics of how this cost savings is going to be distributed doesn't say that we don't want Neshoba to save money. I think it was an important question, and I think it should be addressed. And if we can have more detail as far as if there could be a carve out or some other mechanism, I think that would allow people to be a lot more comfortable with this proposal.
What do you mean more information about a carve out?
How the agreement is going to work with Neshoba.
Okay, well, but there's two questions now that we're presenting. One is land use and whether one is the lease. itself.
I'm not questioning land use. I'm
Okay.
questioning the mechanics of it.
Okay.
I did question the land use. I went and walked the property, and I see the concerns about access. But I think that I'm probably would not be alone in questioning how the mechanics of the deal would be structured.
Okay,
I agree with Bill. My concern is not really the land use. It's really what benefit are we going to get when we're going to get tied into a 25-year lease?
well, first off, we'll be providing solar power to some municipal organization at no cost to the town. That's the first thing, right? So it does affect the solar footprint. You know, I have no opinions one way or another about their cost estimates because I don't know enough about how they made them or what assumptions are in them or anything like that. So I can't challenge or endorse that. But in terms of being more specific about the town realizing some of the savings, I think that's a discussion we could have. Stan, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable, but even if it's a 33% split between the three towns, I mean, we just had a previous discussion about how we need the district to figure out some ways to save money. Here is some way where we're going to be in a position at no cost, to your point, no cost to the town on a piece of property that no one has any interest in, to be able to provide some savings, not only to us, but the other two towns, which will directly impact potentially the district's budget. I say it's a win-win for everybody. And I'm surprised that we're having this discussion.
Well, why wouldn't we have this discussion, Stan? It's an important warrant, and that's what we're here for. I don't understand.
Even if we get a third of it, it's better than nothing.
And if
But
you
it's
told me,
100% of our land.
excuse me, if you told me the only way we could do this is if we get a third, I may still agree with the project. But I think asking the question and trying to do better and structure a better deal, it makes perfect sense.
And we possibly could do that. But
And
let's not defeat the article.
That is what I'm questioning. I can't speak for others, but that is what I'm questioning. You're making it a either or.
You're making it an either or.
Okay, could I jump in here for a moment? I just want to make sure that everyone here understands that the warrant closes on Thursday.
Yep.
Okay, and that's been the schedule for months and months and months. So I don't know that we're going to have an answer by Thursday, but the resolution of how the money gets split and stuff like that, we can have that discussion, but we're gonna close the warrant on Thursday.
Well,
And I hope you'll unanimously support this article and
Right.
recommend.
I think the article should be supported, that this is what we would like to do, and the details and the mechanics will follow. And we'll get to a mutually agreeable solution to all parties.
But
I
if
mean,
we approve the article and then we negotiate later, we have no leverage.
no, that's not,
No,
that's not true.
No,
Because the thing is, if the article isn't approved, then the select board doesn't even have the authority to negotiate. So the article has to approve, because in order to give them the ability you've got the ability, now go iron out the details.
exactly.
But who
This
approves
doesn't
those
even
details?
commit the board to actually doing it. It just it authorizes us to negotiate it. It doesn't commit us to finalizing this.
Any lease over 3 years has to go to town meeting, just to be negotiated.
As we will see in 2 more articles.
I think it's also worth pointing out that this is not really about saving money in the school budget. If these savings represents approximately 0.03% of our annual assessment. So if we're talking about needing to save money in the assessment, this gets us nowhere.
Sure.
All right, so I've really lost track now. Was there a second to approve this?
I
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, here we go.
I was the first one, wasn't I?
Well, we'll start the roll call with you, Craig. Craig,
Aye.
Bob. I'll come back to Bob.
Okay, thanks.
Bill,
Aye.
Ann,
Nay,
Bob,
So I just want to clarify that this is just the authority to start the negotiations. This is not a commitment into the lease.
Correct.
Well, it could end up as a commitment, but the
Right.
vote does not commit the town or the selectmen. But it does authorize us to negotiate and execute a lease.
Correct.
Okay, I'm an aye too.
and I'm a yes as well. Jenny, you have that vote? Okay, great. Okay, hold on, I gotta share my screen again. Okay, so we already voted on the facility shed. So cell tower lease, this was basically something that came up in town hall when they were kind of crossing their Ts and dotting their Is. Someone from the select board can correct me if I misstate this, but basically we've already been in a long-term lease for the cell tower. And in order to renew it, because it is a lease of greater than 3 years, we need to basically, town meeting needs to reauthorize that ability of the select board to enter into a long-term lease.
That's correct.
So it's not a change in use of any property, it's just
No.
maintaining the current use.
Right. It's basically a pro forma article just to renew what we already have.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anybody have questions about this? Okay, does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
I move we approve Article 14, the cell tower lease.
I'll
this is
second it.
Ann, and I'll second it.
Okay, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. All right, and then this Article 15 was added since the last time. It's a citizen's petition, a resolution in support of changing the state flag and the seal of Massachusetts. I don't know if people have even had time to read and digest this. I will just tell you, basically, 2 years ago, the legislature and the governor created a commission to study this issue. I forget what the commission is called. I think it may be down here. Yeah, the Special Commission relative to the seal and motto of the Commonwealth. So that commission has been, I guess, working on this. And this resolution is, according to this, it says, be it resolved that the town of Bolton hereby adopts this resolution in support of the work of the Special Commission relative to the seal and motto of the Commonwealth, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to like affect other people's deliberation on this, except to just note two things. The language of this is incorrect because it misidentifies our current state senator. So we can't change that, but I just wanted to note that. And then also, this reminds me a little bit of back in 2018, there was an article related to the town's approval of the Paris Climate Accords. And I believe that the vote of both the select board and the advisory committee, the majority vote of both committees at the time was to actually issue no recommendation on the grounds that the subject matter wasn't actually pertinent to what the select board or the advisory committee typically review things for. And I will just say that from an advisory perspective, there's nothing in here at all about financial impact of anything. So I think we have a few options. There can be a motion to approve on the merits. There can be a motion to make no recommendation.
I move we make no recommendation.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion before we vote?
I sort of think we should make a recommendation. And I would be a nay, because I think the purpose of town government is to, run the town, not to make big, bold political statements.
Could
Well,
I
that-
chime in on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I agree with you, Bob, and the reason I would recommend no recommendation is that anybody who openly opposes this is going to be portrayed as very negatively. The language of this article is very inflammatory. It is very much, you can't oppose this unless there's something wrong with your moral upbringing. Yeah, it invokes a word that I would not want to use against my neighbors, and it would be used against anybody who votes against this. It's poorly worded, it's poorly written, it's a damn shame it has to go on a public document. So I would, for those reasons, I would recommend a no recommendation rather
sounds like
than
wise
actually
advice.
opposing it.
Yeah, I would echo Bob's comments. I mean, I think for all the reasons that Bob had said, that a no recommendation is probably the best thing. It's poorly written. We know who this is coming from, and it doesn't worth the time. It's not worth the time to be opposing it. Just a no recommendation is probably the best thing that we could do.
That sounds like good advice.
Okay, so that was moved and seconded by Craig to make no recommendation. So I'll do a roll call. Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well.
What article number is that, Brian?
That is Article 15.
Thank you.
Jenny, you've got your hand up.
Nuts and bolts question. Would you like that to read no recommendation by unanimous vote 5-0?
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it, right? Where that's the warrant. Okay. I'm happy to field the question if we get one during town meeting as to why we have no recommendation. Okay,
You can blame it on me.
There you go. It's all on Bob.
all right, so,
Can I ask one more question?
yeah,
I realize in the copy of the warrant that I sent you, it seems like the vote for Article 16 got deleted somehow. You guys did vote on Article 16, correct?
I'm sorry, what was Article 16? I just, sorry, just,
To authorize the town election?
I don't think we
They
vote
don't
on
vote.
that.
We
You
did
don't
not.
vote on that one.
Why it's not there?
Yeah, isn't it, that's just the select board, right?
No, it's not even them. It's not
No.
even us.
No,
Nobody votes on that?
Nobody.
no.
Why it's not
The
there?
town votes on it, that's all.
It's a higher authority beyond our control.
Thank you.
Right, it's up to Jenny, is what he means.
Okay, I'm trying to get organized. Hold on a second. All right, so I know that I had previously sent out the advisory committee annual report. I don't think I need to share that document again because that was already, you guys already saw that by email. I got some, approvals back by email, but we should have a vote on it tonight. So is there somebody that wants to approve the advisory committee's annual report?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm also a yes.
Don't forget to, sorry, don't forget to adjust it for the extra 25 that was thrown at the advisory budget.
Oh, well, so that I'm going to show that's the advisory committee statement, which I am going to show just briefly. Okay, so can you all see that?
Mhm.
So this I drafted, these numbers will have to change because this should be 438. Highlighted numbers I'll change, but I just wanted to make sure that otherwise the substance itself, everyone was fine with. Again, highlighted things, I'm just gonna have to plug in the numbers, but is everybody okay delegating the responsibility to me to update the numbers with the Notchka, but otherwise not change anything?
I feel okay with that.
Just wanted to make sure you're all comfortable with the way that I worded this. So it's kind of similar to the way that the select board dealt with it, but we're using federal and state funds for a number of other capital needs. Federal funds are part of the American Rescue Plan and will not be a recurring source of capital financing. Just so that people know. Okay. Any questions or is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, actually, Brian, it's scanning this. I mean, I haven't seen this before, but do you have sort of a line item that says out of the entire budget that we have, the amount of money that the town has control over to adjust, to kind of show what a small number that we actually have influence over and what the increase of that small number is?
Usually I include that in the presentation slide deck. It
Okay.
hasn't been in this report.
Okay, okay. I think that's always a very important piece
Yeah.
to show what we have influence over and how little it's gone up. I think it's very important.
Yeah. Okay.
Brian, do you have a ballpark figure of where our free cash percentage is going to land?
So we will be left with more than 350,000 in free cash. So we're hitting that target. And the percentage is, sorry, I think I have it. So basically what the percentage that will be shown will be the $990,000 over reflected as a percentage of this year's total operating. So I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's going to be between 3 and 5.
Okay.
Maybe I do have it somewhere.
No,
Anyway,
that's
Um,
also,
just looking. So was there a motion to approve the statement?
I move we approve this statement.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor, roll call. Craig,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. And then, again, I know this was late breaking. I think the only things we have left are approval of minutes and transfer, right? Jenny and Nanachka, am I missing anything from our agenda? Just approval of minutes and that transfer that came up? Okay, so let me get the transfer request. We're all going to be reading this together in real time because I'm just seeing it. Can you all see this? So this is regarding the town hall and library surveillance camera system. The current camera system was installed in 2014. Recently learned that the installed audio and video is federally prohibited from all state and municipal entities since 2018, requires immediate upgrading in response to the ban enacted by blah, blah, blah. So they have to purchase a new system that will replace the current surveillance camera system and integrate into the police department. The police department is requesting the following amount of $16,626.70. Can anybody shed any light on this?
This is the first I'm seeing it.
Jenny, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Since we do have a few sets of minutes to approve, would you mind texting Chief Nelson and seeing if he can join? Just because if there's some time sensitivity on this, I don't want to pass over it, but I feel like I don't quite understand what's going on here, and it would be nice to hear from him.
Sure.
Everybody cool with that?
I'm very cool with it.
Okay. All right. Interesting. It's kind of juicy. All right. All right. So we have actually 4 sets of minutes: February 8th, February 16th, February 22nd, and March 8th. So these are the February 8th minutes. I took a quick look through. They look good to me. Anybody want to make a motion?
I move we approve those minutes.
I second that motion.
Okay, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Oh, hi. I see we have Chief Nelson with us.
Good
How you
evening.
doing? Hi. So we just were taking a look at that transfer, and we were just hoping you could explain kind of what's going on there, because this is the first any of us have heard of this issue.
Sure, I actually just wrote this up with Don earlier this afternoon. So the surveillance cameras at the town hall and library were put in almost 10 years ago, so 2014. And we found out at the beginning of this year that the equipment that we have has been banned from all government buildings anywhere. So anywhere you put this equipment, it's been banned from governments, just because of possible spying type things from the manufacturer. So we really need to replace it as soon as possible, and get it set up so it's into the police station which it already is, but into my system. Right now it's a standalone system that just comes on displays. I can go back and look at stuff, but if we're gonna move it over, I'd like to just move it right into our system.
So I'm curious, like, are there no sources of funds to kind of deal with the fact that this in some ways is like an unfunded mandate? Like, I'm just wondering if other municipalities are having to deal with this too, like they put something in good faith and now they're just told it was a federal piece of federal legislation, right?
It is. Yes, and I know of, I know of no grants or anything that is going to subsidize putting in new cameras. No, I think they just said you've got to get rid of it and you're on your own to replace it.
Okay, Bob Zakansky.
Brian, you'd know more about this than I would. Is it eligible for ARPA funding?
I mean, at this point, yes.
So I guess the question is, why would Don recommend it come out of reserve instead of ARPA?
I think probably because at this point, we also have a lot left in our reserve fund. And I don't think that the reserve fund will be depleted. So we could, we could definitely use FY22 monies to pay for this.
Well, I mean, it's the technology wars come to Bolton. So, I think we're obligated to upgrade this thing to a legal and compatible system.
Any other comments? Questions? Just in terms of timeline, Chief, so if we approve this, how quickly would you try to get this stuff done? Like ASAP, basically?
Pretty much, yes. It all depends on how quick we can get the replacement equipment. Everything's time sensitive. The person that I had quoted did say the equipment is starting to become more available. So it may be quick. We may be able to do it, by the end of April.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the transfer in the amount of $16,626.70?
I move we approve that transfer.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, roll call. Bob,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Thanks, Chief, for coming on in short notice. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Chief.
everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay,
good night.
good night. All right, so then the only other thing was the last two sets of minutes, although, actually, wait, did we have a motion on I don't think so. Is there a motion to approve the February 16th minutes? This was the summary of the joint meeting with the other finance committees.
I move we approve that set of minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, these are the minutes of February 22nd. Again, looked good to me. Is there a motion to approve February 22nd?
I move we approve the advisory minutes for February 22nd.
A second.
Okay, roll call. Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. All right, and then these are our March 8th meeting minutes. Motion to approve.
I move we approve the March 8th advisory minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm also a yes. Okay, before we adjourn, just wanted to make a couple notes about April. So we're done for the rest of March. I think I don't think there's anything we need to attend on Thursday night, right, Bob or Stan? You guys aren't getting any other information about the warrant that we need to have, right?
No,
Nope.
I don't expect any changes to the warrant, but that doesn't mean there won't be one.
Okay,
Right now, we think it's pretty solid.
You may want to send a representative to, and, you know, if something else comes up, at least change a yes or a no to recommend on, you know, authorize that person to attend the meeting and change it to vote, recommendation to be given on town floor if something else does come up.
is there anybody who can attend on Thursday? I know I unfortunately can't.
Well,
Okay.
Bob, sending one representative from the advisory, they can't change the vote. They have to have a meeting to change the vote. So,
No, but they can be authorized to change it to recommendation to be delivered on town floor. They could vote on that tonight to authorize one person to make that recommendation.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. No.
Well, that was the custom of advisory in the past.
You know, I think actually one way we could also do it is if there is some sort of substantive change, we could revote our recommendation on town meeting floor and explain why we were doing that if we needed to.
I mean, I'm not anticipating any change as far as my personally.
Yeah. Okay. So then usually we have sort of so many people come out to watch it. Our budget overview meeting, like about the Monday before town meeting. So I don't know if the select board would be interested in having us do that again. If we did, basically we would schedule something for, I believe it would be Monday, April 25th. I suppose we could do it on Tuesday, April 26th if we wanted. Oh, you know what? I'm realizing, does actually the town moderator call that? Do I need to follow up with Doug Story about that?
No, I don't think so.
No, if you guys want to have a meeting with the public, then you go for it. So that's
Yeah,
not-
you just gotta make sure you don't conflict with candidates night.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So if we need to schedule that, we can chat over email, and we'll definitely have a meeting in the middle of February to go over the slide deck. So,
Middle of February.
sorry. What did I tell you, Jenny? I told Jenny when I signed on, I'm like, Jenny, my brain is not working. All right. So middle of April.
There you go.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Please.
I move we adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
All
Jenny.
right, nice job, everybody.
Good night.
Good work.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks.